I wanted to go ahead and highlight, since this is the last Wednesday of 2021. For those that don't know, we started this group in January 28th. So we just passed the 11th month mark of consistently showing up here. We all have our practices on our own for either like group or one-on-one type events. But here is just like Chris was saying, like this is our opportunity to just put out value and to give you guys teasers. For those of you that have been watching us on a weekly basis for the past 11 months, you guys have gotten a whole lot of knowledge. You've basically gotten about, what is that? Almost, 48 weeks of coaching for free. So we're happy to have you guys here. So feel free to tune in and tell your friends. And we've got a growth event coming up in January. I want to say 10th, the Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern. The 9th, the Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Chris passed the test. And so we're going to be talking about that a lot today. So
that's right.
Kabir, are you with us?
I am here. I am present. Hopefully it sounds all right. You guys let me know.
I can't hear anything.
You cannot hear anything. Okay.
No. I wish I could read lips. I could hear, I can't hear anything. That's even better.
You just sound far away, so I don't think that your AirPods are connected. You sound super far away.
Oh, wow. Okay. I can hear
Galaxy
you.
far, far away to play the themes from our pregame.
I can hear you guys. So through my AirPods.
Yeah. We can hear you. It's just a little low, but we keep rolling. It is what it is.
You got that booming stage presence of a voice, man. I know you can do it.
I will project
from the chest. Yes.
From the diaphragm.
There we go.
Good stuff. But again, that's what we came to do, guys. So again, diving into tonight's going to be a little bit more of conversation because we just want to talk over some of the topics that we've been talking about, but that are present in our minds right now as we move into 2022. Again, all of this type of stuff you will get if you register for the growth event coming up next year, like, January 9th. But again, we just want to share some of these things with you. When we just got off of our pregame on Instagram, Kabir was finishing up talking a little bit on the health side of things because I gave a quick story about my mom right now going through some treatments, and the doctor that she was talking to literally told her to go eat McDonald's. Right? Like literally said, like, that should be what you go and do. And he was trying to make a point to raise her like calorie intake, but just in the manner he kept bringing up that going to eat a Big Mac and drinking a milkshake was the thing that she should do. She should leave and go do that. And that was just so kind of left field for us. We spoke up and was like, yeah, that's not what we're going to do, doc, but understand what you're saying. And obviously Kabir being, our resident health coach, had some thoughts on that. And I know that's where we were kind of left off, he said, and Kabir, I'll let you kind of jump in. But man, the crazy things that we see out there around health and around the information we get around health. You can touch on that.
Yeah, I'll tell you guys here. First and foremost, a few things about doctors, right? Medical school has the highest suicide rate of all graduate schools. End of story. Okay.
Wow.
So let's start there. All right. And in fact, let's start before I answer that question. In fact, where I think that we should start is we have a responsibility to be our own healers. And what I mean by that is nobody is with you 24/7. No doctor is with you 24/7. They don't, and every action you take, everything you do, impacts your health tremendously, right? So we have a responsibility to be our own doctors. And just like we have our own responsibility to be our own trainer. A trainer works with you for an hour, maybe 4 times a week. A doctor sees you maybe 45 minutes, right? If less per visit, and then sends you off. But your health encompasses everything that you do, all actions that you take, all areas and aspects of your life. Okay. So that's number one. Number two is that we've got to look at doctors in and of themselves. See, most people don't understand how the medical system works. So they look at the medical system and they see doctor and they think doctors should be able to do everything, right? For example, they're doctors, they're veterinary doctors. They don't know a damn thing about the human system. They don't. That's not what they work with, and they shouldn't. They're not. That's not their responsibility. They work with cats and dogs and alligators, et cetera, right? In fact, some veterinary doctors don't even work with certain animals. Okay, so how do we expect one single doctor, just because they have a white coat, to know everything that goes on with the human body? It just doesn't make any sense. Can you guys hear me? Give me a thumbs up. All right, great.
Two, two,
And
two.
if you're on Instagram here, go ahead and drop a 222. I appreciate you. Okay, and make sure make sure you guys are paying attention, because this right here is extremely important. If you take nothing out of 2021, take this right here. We have a responsibility to be our own doctors, our own trainers. You are the only person that is with you 24/7. Okay, so, and then thirdly, let's look at the fact that doctors in and of themselves might be some of the most unhealthy individuals of any group of individuals I know, right? Now, you guys are nodding your head, yeah, so you can tell your story after this, but it's insane, right? And I think sometimes it's when you get so close to the situation that you just kind of lose, you just, it is whatever it is, right? You're just going to like, oh, okay, whatever. I'm not a doctor. I don't know why they do that. But what I do know is there's this idea that doctors know everything. All doctors know everything. And so we should listen to them 24/7, and whatever they say goes. And that's just simply not true. And then on this other side too, we look at the doctor group and population, and we realize, whoa, not only do they not know doctors in different sections don't know everything, but also got to pay attention to how they take care of themselves, right? And then the whole entire American Medical Association, we've got to look at how that started. What was the aim of that? What are these bars and standards that they pass? Guys, I don't even know how else to put this besides, like, that's a whole lot of, how else do I say this? Have you guys ever seen like cow poop or horse poop? It comes out, and it comes out like a lot of it comes out, right? Okay. There's a whole lot of that in this industry, right? But we have to, the belief, see, just like the monetary system, the money, right? If the belief crashes, if people stop believing in doctors as like these holy grail of whatever they think they are, or they start believing in like the US dollars being like the greatest thing, it will never ever, nothing will ever happen to that. As soon as that trust is gone, everything falls apart. Now, I'm not saying we stop believing in doctors or whatever, but it's important, guys, that you look back and see what's going on in this industry. Like, and look at the numbers. They're not improving. And how much money do we spend on doctors? How much money do we spend on healthcare? How much money do we spend on medical care? How much money do we spend on the numbers are just not improving. And in fact, for our growth event on January 9th, right? January 9th, our growth event on January 9th, I have 2 topics prepared for you guys, and I'm going to pick one of them. I don't know which one yet. I'm going to pray on it. I'm going to sit on it. I have 2 hot topics ready for them. And one of them is diving into step by step, number by number of what is going on in healthcare and how it has absolutely failed us, particularly in the United States, because most of our audience is in the United States, although we do appreciate those that are outside of the U.S. still tapping in from Brazil, from Trinidad, from all over the world. We appreciate you. But January 9th, I'm going to be diving in there. And if you have an opinion on which one you want to hear, right? One where I dive into healing your gut, and the other where I dive into the healthcare system and what I believe is going to be or should be the future of healthcare and how we can go ahead and completely flip things around. I want to actually hear. Type in a 111 for doctors, right? If you want to hear about the healthcare system, right? Give me a 222 if you want to hear about healing your gut. I appreciate you. Actually, I would love some of you. Even if you see this replay, you can go ahead and vote. Give me a 222 if you want to hear about healing your gut, and a 111 if you want to hear about the future or what I believe should be the future of healthcare. Because where we are right now, man, the situation hurts my heart because I really care about people, right? At the end of the day, you see me yelling at screens and going all animated because I care. I don't want to be sitting with Mama Dukes when Mama Dukes is in the hospital. I don't want to be crying with my friend on the phone when she's for something that's totally avoidable.
Yeah, that's a big point, man. And yes, drop those twos or those ones. Jokes aside, right? We do want to hear your feedback of like, what would you want to hear? We've been talking about this amongst us, but we want to know, right? What we're all of us, all three of us, we're doing this because we care about people, because we want to serve you, because we want to serve the people that are listening and that want to get better. So tell us the areas that you want to get better, that you want to grow, right? And which side you would want to hear. I have, like you said, to be like, I have my own doctor stories and health stories. I'm sure we all do. But this is about saying, are there some things we have to unlearn in order for us to relearn the proper information to get ourselves where we want to be? And I think that information is the most important thing. It's getting that information, becoming aware of the fact that we don't have all of the tools that we need. We don't have the belief system. We don't have all of the things. And once we get those things, we can make better decisions. And like you've said before in earlier episodes of this, we don't have to just give our power away to the doctors. That's what really we do. And what people are doing is they're just giving their power away. Like, I just trust them over knowing me. And that's really something that I know we have to course correct, especially if you want to get to a good life, right? Especially if you want to live that ideal life. You got to tap into your body. You got to tap into your health. You got to understand what's happening, and don't just be subject to when you need to go to the hospital and whatever the doctor is going to give you. Because again, another one of your quotes, I believe, could be right. Like, there's no money in healing. There's no money in healing. And so that's why these doctors are not out there healing us. They're not healing us because there's no money in that. Because once you get healed, you don't need them anymore, right? So that's not what the system is built on. The system is built on making sure that you need them.
Hey, Chris, I'll toss this in there. This is nothing against doctors at all. All right. I actually believe most, if not all, doctors start out wanting to heal people, wanting to help people. But just like presidents, politicians start out wanting to heal people, wanting to help people, not heal people, but wanting to help people out of their current situations. The system corrupts.
Right.
The system corrupts, right? The system corrupts. And just like lawyers start out wanting to advocate for people and those that don't have representation and really help them, the system corrupts. The system corrupts. These people all start out young and full of hope. Young and full of hope. And then the system just molds them.
Let me
This
throw
is
that. I believe, I'm going to throw it right back to you. Part of it, I believe, is the system. Part of it is they get jaded with people.
Yeah.
When you see the same things over and over again, you start to be like, I got this, right? Like, that's what happens. But I think both of those things are true for me.
Yeah. And I think that is part of the system. I think that is part of the system, right? You start to see this over and over. Because, guys, I'll be honest with you. I'll confess. Even in my little line of work over here, sometimes I see people over the same issues over and over and over again. And I'm like, man, you just don't care? You do you not see it? You don't care at all? Like, maybe this is okay. Go ahead. Y'all both raising your hands. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, I'm guilty.
Same. Like, you mentioned the word jaded, and man, I feel like, there's a lot of people out there that look at the world as a whole and the direction that we're going and some of the policies passed around right now. It is easy to become jaded with society in general, and it is easy to become jaded with people you work with, whether it's a client, whether it's a fellow employee, a colleague, or it's easy to become jaded when you don't necessarily see, to come to my own situation, and Kabir's addressed this before, like, it's frustrating to see your clients come to you, and then there's like a program, or there's like things that are discovered, and there's things that happen, and thankfully few and far between, but every once in a while you come across somebody where they keep coming back with the same thing. And I was like, okay, well, how did it go when you applied this methodology? Oh, well, I actually didn't do that. It's like, well, this is part of the trial and error piece. Like without trying something new, you're going to be in the same situation. So that I think that jaded piece it's possible to happen in so many areas, ours included.
Definitely is, right? Like, and again, I can understand on both of your parts. I can understand it on a doctor's part. I can understand it anyone that's in the system. I can understand it for an attorney that's becomes a public defender and wants to save the world. And then all of a sudden, like the first 175 cases you take are all the same thing, and you're like, this is garbage. I'm gonna go to private practice, right? Like, and what starts to happen? I see it on my side. I've been guilty of it myself. I get this thing. And this is where I get, and I talk to people about our money mindset. We all kind of start off at a very similar place unless you're an outlier where you've had specific money training in your household. That's really the only outlier that I've seen on my side is that if you grew up in a household that talked about money, that your parent or a family member was a banker or an investment person or an accountant or something like that, at an early stage, you probably got a different idea of money. Outside of that window of people, everyone else gets about the same amount of financial knowledge and understanding, right? Like, or unless you were wealthy or something like that. But outside of that, you get the same amount. So when people come to me now and we're having these financial conversations, it's actually the same conversation every single time. It always comes back down to habits. And then it comes back down to how people are thinking about their money. And like, that is really what it goes to. And I felt myself becoming jaded over time of like, going on 10 years doing this. I'm like, these are the same issues that people were talking about 6 years ago. It's the same exact stuff. That also, though, gives me hope, right? That is also the reason I continue to do it. And I know I'm probably speaking for you two gentlemen as well, but for everyone that's listening, that's why we do this, is because when enough people are going through the same problems, that means it's a real problem. That means it's a real issue, right? If you see this over and over and over again, you're like, man, this is a problem. That's why we do what we do. That's why I come in and help you understand your money and get better, because I know you and the other 300 million Americans, most of you are doing the same thing. 80% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. 80%. That's 8 out of every 10 people we know live paycheck to paycheck. That's a huge deal. It's a huge problem, right? And what happens is, because we don't talk about these things, we don't think that, we think that we're different, right? We think our situation is different, or how we think about it is different. And so again, tying this into our growth event on January 9th, these are the things that we're going to dive into, because it doesn't matter where you are right now. The information we're going to get you is going to be able to help you progress, because we've done this so much in all of our respective areas, and we know what you're dealing with. Yeah, we want you to express it and tell us, but we have a pretty good idea of what you're dealing with in all these areas, and we want to be able to help. And not right. We're not going to be jaded on that side. We're going to just continue to grow, help people get through it. But I can understand how people in a system can get jaded to these types of things. Everybody's dealing with it.
Absolutely. That 8 out of 10 is 80-20 rule, man. It seems almost natural, right? So I'm seeing the same thing on this side. Where what's real interesting is individuals who may have experienced success, like maybe earlier in their journey, or maybe, let's take weight loss, because that's what most people only care about weight loss, right? They care about the surface level stuff. They care about aesthetic. And I posted a reel earlier this week. On the guy side, it's caring about the diesel, the fit, the what I call fake health, right? It's fake health, right? Because all it is really, it's really to hide my lack of self-confidence. It's really to hide my lack of self-love. It's really to try to attract a mate. It's really that's it. And people think I'm crazy, but that's the thing is, I've been there. I've been there, so I know, right? I know I'm not full of nonsense or that, because I'm not speaking down to you. I'm speaking shoulder to shoulder. I'm looking left and I'm saying, hey, listen, I've been there. I get it. I get it. When you go to any gym, it's like I go to gyms now and it still affects me. I'm in here like I know for a fact, guys, this is not a brag, but my body is set up to be a bodybuilder type. My body is set up to easily get yoked if I really wanted to. So I walk in, even now till this day, knowing what I know, I look left, I look like, see all these guys grunting and going, I'm like, I could do that. And I find myself being like, I can lift them out the gym. So it's just like an ego competition thing. It ain't got nothing to do with health, right? That's on the guy side. On the girl side, it is one of these same thing, but slightly different. Same but different. Same but different, right? They want to feel better, right? Not knowing that is not the only way for that to happen. It's not the only way for you to feel better. It's not the only way for you to look better. It's not the only way for you to attract a mate. It's not the only way for you to, like, you could get all of those things in a much better way, right? We now have a fake system, right? Just like the gym in and of itself is fake. It used to be, and I was talking about this in my post, it used to be that, well, you're not going to the gym after working 8, 9, 10 hours on the farm. What? Why would you go to a gym to go lift weights? That makes no sense, right? But you ever heard of Country Strong? Oh, it's still strong now. Them boys are still fit now, right? In fact, they may be strong and they may not even look it, right? So it really is people have got to ask, there's so much fakery going on, and it's really just supplements. We're supplementing things, right? Things that was part of like where it used to be like, not only is this going to get me healthy, well, whole, and complete, but it's also going to provide me food. It's also going to be productive in some way, somehow. Now we go to the gym and like, well, I'm not saying don't go to the gym or anything. I'm just saying we lose the productivity aspect of it, right? Unless you're training to go use that talent to go make money as a pro athlete or something, and that's like your job. That's what you do. Even then, there was a point in time when being a pro athlete didn't pay. There was a point in time where you didn't make money from being a pro athlete. So people will go work on the farm and then they'll go play football in the NFL and they'll make 50. Like, they'll be lucky if they made 50,000.
Right.
Right. So we've replaced so much fakery, so much fake. I talk about this stuff. I'm like, bro, do people even care? Y'all, and this is the jaded part, man. Y'all even give a shit, right? Because they come back and they're like, oh, I just want to lose 10 pounds. What do you mean you just want to lose 10 pounds? What do you mean you just want to lose 10 pounds? What is it? This is just, there's a lack of understanding, right? And there's a severe lack of understanding. And when you point those, and now we treat people with white gloves, right? You can't say these things, right? Because it's like, oh, don't body shame, right? Don't do anything. Don't. That's just the way they are. They're big bone. Are you serious? Your bones are literally bigger than normal people's bones? Are you kidding me? Are y'all kidding me? Do you need an X-ray to prove that wrong? Come stop the garbage. Stop the garbage. Why are people so excited to you big bones? Your bones are literally that much bigger than a normal person's bones? Is that what you're about now? Bro, like ain't the level of and then I hop on IG and sometimes I'm like, why am I on IG? Why am I on IG? Why am I on here? You flip through and you just see the next big yoke guy and the next slim thick girl and whatever. And it's all they're lying to you. Okay. If that's what you want, there's nothing wrong with that. Just know they're lying to you. They're lying to you. They did not get there by doing what they said they're doing. They got there, and now they're getting up on screen to do other things to show you, God, I've been there. That's how I know. I've been there.
Preaching, man. Preaching.
What I hope, and my whole thing is, listen, teaching true health will get you censored. It'll get you banned. It'll get you broke. It'll get you all types of things. But see, not in my case. Not in my case, because when you believe in something, you enjoy something, and you care about people, at the end of the day, I can go do all those other things, but I always get back to true health, because at the end of the day, that's the foundation of everything. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care how strong you are. I don't care how good look. If you're not healthy, it's going to show up at one point in time. If your foundation is not strong, when the storms come, your house will get blown down. It will. It's just a matter of time. So when you hear on the news, so-and-so, pulled the trigger and committed suicide, it's not surprising to me. It's not surprising to me. When you hear so-and-so got something and they just knocked out and they're gone, right? So-and-so was dealing with this their whole life. So-and-so is just the greatest entertainer ever, and they was just severely depressed and constantly on morphine just to feel good. Like, it's not surprising, guys, because we all encouraged to wear these masks, layers after layers after layers after layers after layers after layers of masks that we wear. Layers after layers after layers of masks. Guys, when you come here to the Good Life Show, you're going to get authenticity.
Right.
You're going to get realness. You're going to get the truth to the best of our knowledge. And we're open to other things. Oh, hey, listen, you bring it over here. We'll dice it up. We'll chop it up. We'll analyze it. We're not stuck in our ways, but we want authenticity. That's what I stand for. That's what these gentlemen right here stand for. Authenticity. Giving you the truth of how to handle your money, the truth of how to have a bulletproof mindset, the truth of how to set up your health in such a way that your foundation is strong, and that you could go help mama, you could go help papa, you could help your brother, your sister, your cousin, your neighbor, or whatever. Because true health is actually simple. They want you to think it's complicated. They want you to think you're stupid. They want you to think that you don't know. They don't want you to listen to your gut. They don't want you to know. We are born with a manual. It's right here. It's in our cells. It's in our DNA. It's right here. Right? Make me want to go boom, 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 boom.
Dude, first of all, there is nothing that gets me more hyped than beating my damn chest, and that will never change. Yeah, I want to jump in with one piece on the mindset side. I posted on this the other day. Huge shout out to the holistic psychologist for this. Like, along these same lines, they want to slap a label on you, and they want to give you a pill. That is how so many of my clients end up finding their way to me, because they're tired of that. They're tired of going to professionals and having a pill and a label be the overall prescription for what they have going on. They want to understand how to actually deal with their own mind and maneuver their own mind. We have almost 8 billion minds on this planet, and they all operate differently. Why do we like to oversimplify that process? I would encourage everyone to try and figure out, how do you work best? How do you think best? How do you motivate yourself best? What lifestyle works for you? Use that. Use what's natural. I am sure there are cases out there, especially if severe violence may be involved, where medication may be appropriate. I cannot speak to everything. I'm not a psychiatrist. But what I do know is there's a lot of people out there that are tired of second guessing why they're broken or fixed or different, when in reality, you could just learn how to better operate with how you think. I've been called ADHD. Man, I've got a history of mental illness in my family that made me question myself growing up in my 20s. I can say that now because I'm 30. What's up? Hey. But like, at the end of the day, you have to work with whatever brain you've got. You can't let somebody just come at you and throw a pill that's supposed to address this one 3 or 4 letter acronym that is supposedly going to cure all your problems and help you focus. Well, guess what? If it's something that you have such a difficult time focusing on, perhaps you should be evaluating whether or not that's actually something you want to be pouring your heart and soul into. Or you've got to figure out a way to make it work on your own, but a pill is not going to do that. It's going to actually, the best way I can describe this, when you start going down the medication route, you are already trying to figure out how to exist and function and live well in your current reality. That pill is distancing you from experiencing reality. Why would I do that to you? Why would I make it harder for you to live in reality with everybody else in this community, in this life, by making it so I affect how you perceive reality? That doesn't make any sense to me. So
I just had a
yeah,
random thought. I'm sorry to cut you off, Stu, but random thought, guys. We have to talk about growth mindset to open up the New Year's event. That's
have
really
to.
what
It's in the
is what
name. We have to, anyways.
yeah,
Yeah.
like we literally have to talk about, because the difference between fixed mindset and growth mindset is believing that you can be different.
Yeah.
And what you just said, Stu, goes to the point of people maybe not believing that they could not live with that label or not feel that way. So they take the medication because they're like, well, if I have to live with this thing, then this is what I'll do with it. But it's like, but you don't have to, like, you can change, you can think different, you can be different, right? So that was just a sidebar. We should definitely talk about growth mindset for sure.
No, it was a great sidebar. I mean,
I'm
one,
with it.
the pun comedian in me absolutely loves talking about growth mindset to open up our growth event. But in reality, you've got to be able to chink open that armor. I know far too many people where you begin to talk about certain traits of their personality, and it's, oh, that's just who I am. You know, like when you say, oh, that's just who I am, I want you to evaluate like the energy that is felt and exchanged when you say that. If there's a negative or a heavy vibe, you're saying that it's just who I am about a trait that you may not actually like about yourself. If you're saying it like, yeah, this is who I am, and you've got that hype about it, then yeah, that's a part of you that you fucking love. You don't need to focus on that area. That's something that you're proud of. Maybe there's something you could do to tinker with it, but yeah, no, the growth mindset is a huge piece. We talked about that a lot in 2021.
And to piggyback on that pill idea, guys, anything external, right, creates dependence. End of story. So if something external is coming in to fix the situation, when can you stop that external intake and still have the same situation internally? It's very difficult to do. Very, very difficult to do. And in fact, it's not needed. Whether it's pills, food, drinks, smoke, etc., it's just not needed, right? The body, whatever we see, and this is where people get confused. It's like, we are whole, perfect, and complete. That doesn't mean that everything we do is correct or whatnot, right? That doesn't mean all that, but we are, as individuals, from the health perspective, we are whole, perfect, and complete. It's just about learning how to function in societal rules. So ADHD is only a problem. ADHD, let me quotation mark both of those. ADHD is only a problem because of society and societal rules, right? We already know school doesn't work for most people as is. We already know that to be true. School doesn't work for most people. I did well in school, but it's not that it necessarily worked for me. I just figured out how to adapt.
You figured out the system quickly. That's it.
Right? That's all it was. I figured out how to adapt. Okay? It doesn't mean it necessarily worked for me. Right? So, and in light of the growth event, one thing I wanted to share with you guys and also with anybody on here or listen is, for me, last year, and I'll say last year and a half, I really dove into nutrition. I really dove into consumption and really understanding it in a whole new level. I believe in kind of the spiral effect. I come back. There's only, like I always say, 7 colors, 7 notes in a scale. There's only a few aspects of life, and I always like to come back to elevate my level of knowledge there and move on to the next thing, elevate my level of knowledge, and always come back to it periodically in times of my life. And career-wise, that's no different. Last year and a half for me was nutrition, diving back into nutrition. I've studied nutrition in college. I studied nutrition, all types of different certifications and whatnot. But this last year, when I dove into nutrition, I dove in with a totally different understanding of what it means. A totally different understanding of what it means to fuel the body. And my perspective of nutrition is completely. completely, from counting macros and calories and doing all that to being like, oh, that's just language that was developed for where we are now and where they want us to be. Like, you don't have to count calories, guys. You don't have to count macros. You don't have to do any of that stuff. Not important at all. Why? Because they're derivatives. They're derivatives. I don't know how else. I want to find a different word. If you guys know a different one, let me know. They're derivatives of it's not the root. It's closer. It's not the root though. If you're out here just eating McDonald's and all these different types of stuff, you count calories and all this different stuff because you're like 6, 7, 8 steps removed. Okay, but come closer. But when I came back, I realized, oh no, that's something. It's not important for me to count calories if I'm eating as nature intended, right? And then you dive into, well, how's nature intended, et cetera, et cetera. You know, you could go deeper and deeper and refine it, but it's a range. It's a range, and the closer you get to the source, the closer you get to the truth. The closer you get to the root, the more you see. These are languages that are developed, right? This year coming up, what I'm taking on, what the next spiral is for me, is breath and shapes, right? Really diving into, we see all these buzzwords, breath work, right? Man, I know breath work, etc. Guys, it's there's levels. Like I said, maybe that's the way to say it. There's levels, right? And it's not just about like doing particular breathing patterns or whatnot, but diving into it on a whole different level. That's what I'm going to be bringing this next year. Diving into it on a whole different level. And what better place to start when talking about breath work than smoking, right? Something I have a lot of experience with, right? And diving in on a whole different understanding of what the usage of weed really is. Like really, really diving in on a whole different level. And hopefully I'll be able to create safe spaces for people who are experienced, who know what I'm talking about, to really dive in. Guys, breath and smoking are almost direct opposites. Conscious breathing and smoking are almost direct opposites. And that's all I'll say about that on this live. And hopefully we'll dive in a lot more on other lives, but almost direct opposites, right? And I want to, if you are in that category, if you enjoy smoking and you don't think it's a problem at all, you're invited. For smoke, you're invited. Oh, and you have thought about, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. But you told yourself year after year after year after year after year, I'm under control. So I got this. Stop anytime. Look, I stopped last Tuesday. It's not a problem, right? But in your heart of hearts, when you were by yourself, there's no, man, I would be a lot more productive if I didn't partake. Or I would be in a better headspace. Or I would be a little less anxious. Or I would be a little less mood swings. Or I would be a little more lively. Or I would be a little bit more in tune with life, right? Or I would be a little bit more connected, right? Guys, I'm talking to you. I want you. I want you, right? Kabir Sorry wants you. Where's the camera? Wants you. You are the person I'm speaking to. You know this. And you're going to hear this. This is how you know this. You're going to hear this. Why you talking? That's I'm good. Oh, whatever. I'm about to go light up right now. I'm about to go light up right now. Right? You know who you are. I'm not talking down to you. I'm talking shoulder to shoulder to you. I'm talking shoulder and shoulder to you because I'm going on the same journey myself. Okay, so this is not you should do this. No. I know there's more on the other side. I know there's more, and I also know that they've been lying to us for a long time. They've been lying to us for a long time. They've been putting this stuff in music videos for a long time, making it look cool, right? It's cool, it's great, it's awesome, it's whatever, man. All the cool kids do it, right? It's not bad. There's tons of medicinal purposes, but guess what? Cocaine got medicinal purposes. Heroin got medicinal purposes. Food got medicinal purposes. There's a lot of medicinal purposes of a lot of things, right? But you partake of cocaine every night, you partake of cocaine 3 times a day, it might be a problem. It might be a problem. And maybe it's not a problem, but are you at your best? Are you at your sharpest? Are you at your top? Are you as connected as you could be? Are you as lively as you could be? The answer is probably no, and you don't even know that because you haven't stepped away far enough to see something different, especially if you've been doing it for years. Especially if you've been doing it for years, 10 plus years, right? Especially if you've been there. You don't actually know what it feels like to elevate. And I don't mean that type of elevate. Come on, y'all. I don't mean that type of elevate. You don't even know. I'm encouraging you to tap in with me this year. That's where we're going. Tap in with me this year. That's where we're going. We're taking it to a whole nother level. Once you reset your gut, which you can do through my 10-day solid food vacation juice feast, once you reset your gut, next level, in my opinion, is tapping in with your breath. Conscious breathing. And I'm not talking that hoopla stuff, that ooh stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about really tapping in. I'm not talking about, a lot of people use that as buzzword. I'm talking about really understanding. Just like I'm not talking about counting calories and whatnot. All right, I'm talking about really being in touch with your food. So that's what I'm diving in this year of 2022 for me, for my clients, for you guys, for everybody that taps in. And I hope to see you guys there.
And I think that's such a good point. Could be like, and spot on with all that stuff, man. Spot on. But I think that's just good for everybody that's listening to keep in mind, what are you tapping into in 2022? Like, what are the areas that you want to elevate and get to that next level or grow in that area? Right? Could be just talked about a bunch of these of the health side of things. And yes, smoking is one of those things that we're seeing, especially as cannabis, marijuana, right, getting into the legalization process and all of that stuff, right? It's going to become something that we need education about, especially people that partake, right? So for everybody that's listening, though, think about all these different areas that we've just highlighted tonight, and we're continuing to, again, dive in on. Where is your health right now? What areas in your health do you want to see improvements? Do you have the information and the support, the coaching, the guidance, the information to actually get you to where you want to be in your health? If not, it's another reason to sign up for our growth event, because we're going to give you all this information. Those of you that have continued to tap in with us here on the lives, same thing. Where does your mind need to go? Are you still dealing with depression and anxiety? Again, these things are things that they plague all of us. They plague a lot of the population. But are you still dealing with them in the same manners? Has it gotten worse? Do you have the areas to be able to change those things or affect those things? If not, you got to jump on, right? You got to, the reason to come onto our growth event on the 9th. Just another reason so we can get you all this information. My last point could be, you had said it a few minutes back, but everything that you were saying about health parallels specifically with money. There were so many different areas that you talked about, and we know this because when we talk offline, right, health and wealth go so well together, right? These are parallels. Yes, health is that foundational thing, but just a lot of the ways people even think about their money, it's in the same manners that they might be thinking about their health, or with the same habits and things like that. So I'll be able to parallel a lot of those same things. There's levels to the money world. My thesis, what I'm working on for people in 2022 from the money side of things, is I think we need a reset on our money. Most people are far extended beyond where they should be, or where they actually can manage their finances, because they're unwilling to take a few steps back and just get back to a foundational level. People are having investing conversations left and right, And if I act, and really, they're living paycheck to paycheck, right? That's off. That's not how it's supposed to work. Just like you said, Kabi, this is one of the things when you said those people that are on Instagram that look good, that are fit, they're lying about how they got there, right? Like, yes, what they're telling you and teaching you, it's getting them attention, and you might sign up for their course or whatever the case is, but they did some different things in order to get to that place. They can't monetize that side of what they would tell you. Well, that happens a ton in the money space on all these platforms. Everybody tells you about this investment and that, and this is how I made this. But if you really pull back the layers, they're not doing it like that. It's not how they got there. One of the things I posted on my Instagram maybe a few months back was Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban, billionaire, right? Talking about investing. He was on Earn Your Leisure. He was talking about investing on Market Mondays, talking about investing. And one of the first things he said was, if you don't have 6 months worth of like money sitting in the bank, you shouldn't be investing any of your money. Now, this is coming from a billionaire, right? This is somebody that is actually telling you like, hey, wait a minute. I know you might think these are great investments, but you need your foundation set, just like in the health side. Because on the money side, if your foundation is not set, when we have a downturn in our economy, which we will, your house is going to get blown over. Your financial house will get blown over. It's just the way it goes, right? So people are building on quicksand. People are building on shaky foundations, specifically from a money standpoint. But I know this parallels to all the other things too. And that's why, from a money standpoint, we have to have a reset. We got to take a step back and say, okay, where are we trying to go? What are we trying to get to? And then let's look at where we are right now and say, okay, what's our foundation like? What's our foundation? Because if our foundation is not set, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter what you go off and start doing. Because as soon as things flip over, you're going to be back to zero or below zero. That's the thing on the money side. You go below zero, right? You get into the negative. Like, you got to get back to just the surface. So these are the things that I'm passionate about, that I want to be able to continue to share with you guys. And again, the reason why you come to this growth event. So we can just say, hey, what do I need to do? How do I take that step back? How do I then start to build a proper foundation in my money, in my health, in my mindset, right? In the things that I'm moving towards? How do I actually build a stronger foundation and then start going to the different levels? That's really what it's about. You can't be, I said this with money, you can't be on a 303 level when you're really at a 101 level. You're taking 303 tactics. You're trying to do, so many people are trying to, there's this buzzword out there called family banks, where basically this is how, there's a book called What Will the Rockefellers Do? And they talk about basically how wealthy families keep money in their families forever. Right, it's basically just setting up glorified cash value life insurance policies that you can borrow from on a tax-free basis, set it up in a trust so the beneficiaries are the trust, but you could always just continue to borrow from it and pull from it, and then you can do that for multiple members of your family, so that then, God forbid someone passes away, there's more money in the trust that can be also used for businesses, for all types of stuff, and while that person's still living, you can still pull money out and do things with it. So that's a strategy that people are using. That's a 303 level strategy. The 101, you need money to fund those things. That's the 101, right? Like, you actually need to be able to set aside 30, 40, 50, $100,000 a year over a 10-year window to make that a real strategy for your generations for the rest of their life. For the rest of their life, though, that's the difference, right? That's a 10-year strategy that'll set up your generations for 100 years. But it starts with the foundation of, you don't even make 100 grand a year. How are you going to save 100 grand, right? You got to start there. You got to start with the earning. You got to start with the foundational parts. You got to start with the savings. You got to start with the debt. You got to start with that. Then we can get to those strategies where you can do all the things you want to do. And I know it's the same for our money and for all the other areas, whether it's health or whether it's mindset. It's all the same stuff. That's why we want to get you guys to this event, because it's going to really change your life.
Amen. On the mindset side, I'm excited about this event because I'm going to focus on two main areas. And that's one, facing your fears, stepping out of your comfort zone. That's been something that a lot of the folks in our Facebook group for this event, those of you that don't know, we do have a Facebook group where we talk about a lot of this stuff on a regular basis. Facing your fears and stepping out of your comfort zone are pivotal if you are in a position where you're not satisfied with your life experience. And in order to face those fears, you have to have a good understanding of who you are and who your authentic self is, so you can actually weather the storm of the fear of judgment of other people. So facing your fears, fear of judgment are going to be two big ones. There's a lot of like subcategories that go into the two of those. One thing I do want to mention, earlier Khabib talked about how breath work and smoking counter each other. They go against one another, or I guess really smoking gets in the way of conscious breathing is the way you put it. Could not agree with that more. As someone that has previously advocated heavily for marijuana, etc., I have drastically shifted because the more in touch I got with my breathing, realizing I can actually heal and grow and strengthen my respiratory system and my level of inner peace up here, I will not fuck with my lungs now. So for everybody out there, like, please take that into consideration, because I know a lot of my clients dabble in both vaping and some THC products, etc. But overall, we have a lot of different knowledge, and we're trying to unload all of that on you guys and get you guys a firm foundation. You know, we each have our specialties, we each have our overlap. So it's going to be a really good event where we hope to see you guys. So please ask any questions. There's still opportunity to help kind of sway and pitch in if there's different topics you want covered. Help make this your own.
Awesome, man. And so that's it, guys. We're wrapping it up for 2021. This is the last Good Life show of the year. Man, we have we just want to say thank you for everybody that's listening, right? And that has been watching and that's continuing to watch and support. We really appreciate it because, again, we do this for you guys. Yeah, this is kind of like therapy for us. We get a chance to chat and talk about the things that are on our hearts and on our minds in our respective areas. But really, we do this to impact. So thank you for everybody that tunes in, that listens, that's checked in on a Wednesday night on Instagram or on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube. We really appreciate you guys. We want you to know that we actually do think about you, and right, we care about your growth as well. We care about your well-being. So we want to make that known, and we appreciate you. And for everyone, and if you do know people, if you're watching, you know people that want to, tap in with us, share this with them, right? Get them connected to us, whether it's Instagram or Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, it doesn't matter. Join our Facebook group. Jump in so you can get more of these conversations because, again, we're doing this to impact you, but we're wrapping up this year, heading into 2022, excited about our growth event, excited about where we can go, excited about where you guys can go, just ready to take it to the next level, right, guys?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's it. Well, hey, signing off again for another week of the Good Life. Happy New Year to all of you that are listening. Let's go into 2022 strong. We'll be back next week, next Wednesday, to start off for the first episode of 2022, which will lead right into our growth event right after that on Sunday, January the 9th. That's when it's going to be. And we hope to see you guys there. All right. So enjoy your week. Happy New Year. Signing off for the Good Life. Take care.
Thank you, everybody.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Pleasure serving with you side by side in 2021.
Likewise, man.
All right.
Likewise.
Take care, guys.